So Masato.
Yes.
So tell us what happened in the workshop.
I talked, people laughed, so it was great. Well, basically, I talked about how I teach social media in my courses, and since I teach more undergraduate students than master's degree students in JMSC, I focused on what I teach to first year students here. So my course is combined with practical journalism training with how to be a better news consumers and how to verify information on social media. So that was the focus of my workshop.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how important do you think online journalism or social media education is? Because I still remember the first slide showed us like a video. You're saying like everyone's using social media.
Right.
So actually everyone can be a journalist.
Right.
So why is education so important?
Well, because on social media, you don't really tell the difference from news. I mean, well, many news consumers or social media users, they take information not verifying the sources and where those information come from. And to me, it's a very big problem. So you have to be educated on how to verify information that you are getting through Facebook, Twitter, Weibo, and other social media platforms, right? And there are certain techniques that you can use to verify information. Let's say, is this photo genuine or photoshopped? There are services and tools that you can use, and it's easier to learn about those tools if you take, the courses that I teach. So that's what I do. Yeah.
So what do you think is the most efficient way to teach your student and let your student understand where you're talking about?
Well, I mean, two things. One, definitely students have to use social media more frequently than what they are doing with it now. Right? If you want to be a journalist, you cannot just casually tweet. You have to tweet all the time, and you should also follow many, many journalists because that's the way you learn, right? You have to learn from those people who are using social media in the industry and then follow them and learn from them, right? So if you're a journalism student, you definitely have to use social media, and also you have to experiment as well. I mean, I don't mind students intentionally posting fake news stories and see how that spreads, for example. And you will learn a lot from that kind of experiment, right? So play with social media and see how it works, what sort of news items go viral, and then analyze why certain people like certain news headlines and retweeting all the time, whereas some other news items nobody cares. So you have to use it and learn, right? So that's one thing. And another thing is obviously to learn journalism, old-fashioned journalism, right? How to find better sources, how to interview people, and how to put those information you gather together to give it to the public. So that part you still have to learn from journalism schools because it's really hard to teach yourself in that area. Yeah.
So how influential actually social media is nowadays?
Well, I mean, social media is a tool and a platform, just like telephone is a tool, just like TV is a platform. And I think it's as important as TV. In other words, everybody has TV at home now, right? And I cannot think of a day when people start, abolish or get rid of their TV sets from the living room, right? Not maybe they replace them with computers. That I don't know, but I think it's an anthropological change that we've experienced already, right? So once you have TV, you cannot go back to the times when people didn't have TV. So social media is the same thing. Once we have Facebook and Twitter, there's no way that our society will go back to the time when we didn't have this technology, right? And mobile phone is the same thing. I cannot imagine my kids growing up in a world where people do not have mobile phones anymore. So it's going to be around forever, at least as long as I live, maybe. Maybe there will be a new technology which is far better than mobile phones. But unless that happens, it's going to be around us. And that's the source of information people get news, right? So I think it's very, very important. I mean, important is not the right word. I mean, it's with us forever. So you have to live with it. Yeah.
So do you agree that social media itself is actually playing a different role than other with it's different from other like TV and or computer and other
Oh,
technology.
definitely, because TV and other types of technology is usually one-to-many communication, right? It's a mass communication model. You have these big news organizations telling the information to the public, right? So one-to-many communication model is the traditional way. On social media, people are talking to each other, right? So it's very different. I mean, even we are not just talking about news. Let's talk about hospital, for example, right? In the old days, yes, you had a website and you can comment on the forum saying that, hey, I saw this doctor at this hospital, he was not good. Oh, I saw this doctor at this hospital, he was great. So people could share information that way on the internet, but that wasn't really social enough because there's one central location where information is stored, right? So if I'm the owner of that website, and the hospital calls and say, hey, you got lots of negative information about my hospital. Can you get rid of them and I will pay you? I might do that, right? Whereas on social media, patients can talk to each other without somebody interfering that exchange. So I think that's the power of social media, right? So on social media platform, people are talking to each other without going through any central platform where information is stored, which is good and bad. It's good because then we can really have a public conversation, right? It's bad because we don't know who's telling the truth, who's lying. Yeah,
Right, right.
right,
That's actually my concern as well.
right,
Like what you said, you
yeah,
don't mind your students,
right,
posting fake
yeah,
stories and then see
right,
how influential it is.
right,
But the thing is, in real life, there are
right,
lots of people, trying to, there are certain information that's,
right,
fake
right,
or they lack credibility.
right.
So, what's your comment on that?
Well, maybe I'm a bit radical, but I think it's the responsibility of the consumers. We are the ones who should know which one to trust, which one not to trust, right? Before we had news media organizations, it was convenient because they are accountable. If they say something wrong, we can accuse them, right? Hey, New York Times, you had a wrong information, and they have to publish correction on the next day. But on social media, it doesn't work that way. I think it's the user's responsibility now. Yeah.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
Thank you, Masato.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Masato.
much.